In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of joy. The worker will shudder violently and ask you to reconsider. Insist gently, and he will reluctantly relent. He will open a hatch in the ceiling above you and offer to boost you up through it. Accept his offer. Upon emerging from the hatch, you will find yourself in an old factory, similar to the old 18th century sweatshops of large American East Coast cities. It is dirty and dimly lit, and the noise of the machines will be so loud you will find yourself incapable of thought. Before you will be a long catwalk over the large factory floor filled with massive machines. Walk along the catwalk. Working the many hot, hellish, and clattering machines are small children. Though they are so weary and ragged you might mistake them for elderly people. In what little light there is, you can make out their filthy, pleading faces, full of desperation and a wish to be free from their endless torment. Just keep walking. No mortal can help them. And should you attempt to do so, you will join them in their eternal and pointless labor. It will take a long time, but eventually you will reach a door to the foreman's office. Enter to find a plain, gruff man, built like a brick, who appears to be in his late 40s and is wearing a rather plain white button-up shirt. Once he notices you, he will look up from whatever he was doing and regard you with a disgusted glare. With confidence, ask him one question. Can any joy come from it? Once the question has been asked, the foreman will stand and leave the office. Follow him. You will both be on the catwalk once again, whereupon he will shout a command at the child workers. What he says exactly will be lost in the din of machinery, but the child laborers will understand. The children will throw themselves into the machinery, altering the sound in horrible ways. You will clearly hear the bones snap and the muscles rip as the children are torn and crushed by the machines, into which they unquestioningly threw themselves. Throughout this nightmare spectacle, you will hear the holder's voice explain the true nature of joy and pain, though I will not write it here, for only the worthy may know it. Once all the child laborers have been thoroughly shredded by the hellish machinery, the foreman will tell you to go back to his office and wait for him there. Do as he says, and upon entering the office door, you will find yourself in whatever place you most often sleep at night. On your bed, or whatever sleeping surface you use, will be a plain white button-up shirt, just like the one the foreman wore. This shirt will bestow a sense of familiarity and camaraderie with those you speak to. That shirt is Object 118 of 538. You now know joy, and as such, may never have it. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of sorrow. The worker will frown and bite his lip. Hesitantly, he will lead you deep within the facility until you reach a rusted, charred iron door. He will open the door for you, and you must enter the darkness beyond it in complete silence. Once you are inside, the worker will quietly close the door and bolt it shut. You will hear the many screams of tortured souls within a few meters of you. Should the screams stop at any time, quickly scream at the top of your lungs, "I do not feel sorry for you." If they do not resume, hope for a quick death. It is useless to run. However, if the screams continue walking forward in darkness. Keep walking until you see a dim light glow in front of you. Once this happens, immediately halt and stare at it. You will be tempted to look upon the faces of the tormented beings hanging on the walls, and they will plead for you to help. Do not answer their cries, for if you avert your eyes from the light, your mind will instantly be shattered, and you will reflexively begin to gouge your eyes out. The light will reveal a man standing with his back to you, and his presence will cause the screams around you to subside. He will only respond to one question: who will be spared when they come together? He will roll around to meet your gaze and answer your question with excruciating detail. Do not interrupt his speech. What would happen if you do could not be described by this most sick and twisted criminal in the history of the world. When he is done, he will hand you what appears to be an ordinary rock. He will back away from you, the glow of his mysterious light fading away. The words will begin to ring in your mind. He who is without sin shall cast the first stone. Close your eyes and count to 10. When you open them, you will be standing in front of the front desk of the institution. The stone is object 85 of 538. It can only be thrown when they come together. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or religious institution you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, close your eyes and ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of faith. The worker will look at you in abstract confusion, shake his head, and go back to his work. If you wait for 3 full minutes, he will sigh and walk you to a custodian's closet. He will lead you inside and lock you there. The door will not open, and it will be pitch black. Slowly the darkness will begin to describe in the brightest of white words, in a language you have never read and voices you have never heard, speaking the foulest blasphemies your body can withstand. Should the soliloquy ever stop, fall to your knees and clasp your hands, screaming every prayer you know. If the writing does not continue, curse the God that has put you into existence. If the writing does continue, stand quickly and race down the tunnel. There the tunnel will open into a large dome, and you will see a young girl in white, staring at you with her hair fallen down onto her face. Do not look at her hands, or they will peel the flesh from your bone. She will respond to only one question: why do they fear? She will look up to you and her mouth will blurt out every wrong that has ever occurred in the name of God, and some that you must believe happened beyond your reality. She will then fall to the ground screaming in horrible agony as she is consumed by a white flame. That ash is object 36 of 538. It will one day be mixed with yours. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get into. When you reach the front desk, put on your most skilled face of desperation and anguish, and then clutch the edge of the desk and sob the words, "I've lost myself. Will he help me find me?" to the attendant. Should she make a face of maternal love and try to console you, then they have found you, and her words of compassion are the last words of kindness you will hear before your macabre demise. Should she put on a face of disgust and spit a cruel and out-of-character retort of, "I'm not your mother, go find someone who cares," you have succeeded in this part of the quest. Steal your gaze and retort with, "Fine, I'll go somewhere where I'm loved." Then immediately turn around and walk to the door. If you vary from this exact conversation, it is advised to end your life on the spot, because no vehicle can take you far enough away from the beasts of the dark the holder has unleashed on you. If you have survived, close your eyes and clutch the door handle. Think of your warmest memories with the ones you love, then open the door and step through. Once you have passed through the door, keep your eyes tightly clenched shut for 11 seconds. No more, no less. Then open them. You will be in the place and time of the happy memory you thought of, yet you will be watching as a third party. You must immediately run for cover lest your past self see you. You will know if you have succeeded in this if you remain behind your cover for 30 seconds. For if you have been seen, the fabric of reality would have torn asunder, and both you and your past self would have been ripped from your lives and been sucked into the void, erasing you from the hearts and minds of those you will never forget. Once you have hidden, you must wait in silence. Eventually the memory will vary from its truth, and at this point you must lunge out of your hiding spot and scream at yourself, "You are an illusion, take your true form." At this your surroundings will fade away into darkness, and all that will remain is you and your past self, its eyes now blazing with hatred that you have spoiled its fun. At this point it is best if you had come armed, or had been trained in some sort of martial art, because your past self will heave itself at you with an improbable strength you know you did not possess at the time. You must not falter in this assault. Wait until you are 1 foot from yourself and then lash out and strike the demon in the throat. If you fail, you will be torn limb from limb by your own hands. If you succeed, the creature will collapse to the ground unconscious, despite whether or not your blow was capable of such damage. You must then crouch by yourself and whisper this and this alone into its ear. What is the loss one must suffer to succeed? If you whisper anything else, the apparition will regain consciousness and clutch at your ankles, toppling you over, and then proceed to disembowel you with its teeth. However, should you utter the right question, the illusion of you will fade to reveal the true holder, a pale, naked man with no face in its place. The man will then rise, and you must gaze into exactly where his eyes would be. If your gaze falters, his punishment for your disrespect is indescribable by the human tongue. Once the man has risen, he will begin to speak, and you will hear his gruff voice from every angle, enticing you to turn and look for the source, but you must resist. He will weave a tale of how men first faltered in the beginning of the object's time, forgetting themselves in their search for power. He will tell you of every man who lost his soul to his greed, and what became of him. This knowledge may not seem traumatic, but it will haunt you for the rest of your days, bringing unquestionable depression. to you every waking minute. After his speech, you must respond with, I bear no greed. I will lose all I have before I lose myself. At this, the man's every bone will shatter and he will crumble into a heap, his flesh reforming on the floor before you. At this grotesque sight, regardless of your mental strength, you will vomit and then black out, collapsing into a squirming puddle of blood and flesh. When you awaken, you will be outside of the home of the one you hold dearest, and in your pocket will be a wallet made out of the man's pallid flesh. Open the wallet to find a nameless ID picturing yourself with the faceless man standing behind you. This ID is Object 161 of 538. With it by your side, you will never forget yourself.